Gaming on a PC is different than on consoles. On PC, you can check how much FPS you can get, and the more money you spend, the more FPS you get, generally speaking. So how do you check your FPS on your gaming PC on Windows 10 or 11? Let me show you 3 different ways to check your FPS. Alright guys, to get this video started, we'll start with the built-in Windows 10 and Windows 11 option. If you just press Windows G on your keyboard, you should get all of these options. Down here you should see FPS. If you want to have a look at FPS inside the game, you just press this pin button, and now you can press again Windows G and you can see the whole window stays there. If you just want a small one, you know, CPU, GPU usage, all of that, you can just press it like that, and now you have GPU, CPU usage, VRAM, all necessary data right where you need it. Very handy and built-in, no need to install any third-party applications. You can also choose which data you want on the Xbox overlay. So let's say you just want CPU and GPU usage, but you don't care about RAM and VRAM usage, and just you need FPS, CPU and GPU. You can uncheck those. You can increase or decrease transparency via this slider, so you can use this. Just check this box, override default transparency, and you can make it as transparent as you want. So I've maxed it out. Close this, and you can see now it's completely transparent text. Not so intrusive, but at the same time very useful. So GPU is maxed out, CPU at 48%. Very simple. So that's number 1. Number 2 is using overlays provided by the game platforms, such as Steam, Origin, Uplay, you name it. I'm going to demo Steam and Uplay. So for Steam, you just press Shift Tab, which is the default overlay button. Open the overlay, and then you go to Settings and go to In-Game, and then go to In-Game FPS Counter and select where you want it. Let's say I want it on the bottom left. Mark high contrast color to see it properly. Okay, and boom. You can see on the bottom left, just where my health is, the exact FPS, and it matches the Xbox One. Very handy. I can turn off the Xbox One. This is more minimal and not intrusive when you're gaming. Now I'm going to close out of Apex Legends and launch a Uplay title. Next up, let's look at For Honor, which is a Ubisoft title. It uses Ubisoft Connect, or Uplay as it was formerly called. And we're going to jump into For Honor to see how you can enable Ubisoft's FPS counter. So you're in game, you're just playing, and you're wondering what FPS you're running. Just press Shift F2 on your keyboard and go to Settings, which is right here, and then make sure you just check this box that says Display FPS Counter. There is no customization or anything, just click it, escape. Now on the top left you can see my FPS. There we go. Number 3, using a third-party software such as MSI Afterburner or NZXT Cam. I've demoed NZXT Cam in a previous video I made just up there, but for MSI Afterburner you just download and install it from the website. I'll leave a link in the description below. They'll give you something like this. Then you go to Settings, then go to Monitoring, and then scroll down and make sure the frame rate is checked. You can see there's a check mark next to frame rate. All I have to do is click Show in On-Screen Display and then click on Apply. If you want a chart to show as well, you can say Text plus Graph or Chart. Apply, then go to on-screen display and select a toggle button. I've set it to Control \. You can set it to whatever key you want, and then you just go back to your game, press your hotkey, and boom, we have a chart of our FPS. You can see how stuttery or how smooth your game is running. You can see mine is fairly stable, 140 FPS while recording on OBS. There are a few tips here and there, but generally no spikes or drops. Very nice. You can also customize the size of this overlay by alt-tabbing back again. Leave this MSI open Riva Tuner, and you can select the zoom, the color palette, everything. So I can zoom in this far. I go back to the game. You can see the numbers pretty large. You can easily see them if you're running diagnostics, and they're razor sharp. They're rendered by the graphics, very sharp text, easy to read, easy to record. This is my preferred way of looking at the FPS for diagnostics. You can even add your temperature. You can see I already have my CPU temp, graphics temp, as well as memory usage, VRAM usage, even power usage directly on there. So I have everything that I need on one single overlay. So I definitely prefer this last method. You're gonna have a fill as well, a black fill, so that your text is clearly visible just by checking this option. Display shadow, I'm going to turn it off. A lot of customization with MSI Afterburner, and also even record it to a text file so you can work out averages, 1% lows, all of that. Very useful. So if we combine all of the methods that we saw, Windows G, we have FPS right there. I can also have MSI Afterburner. So yeah, you can have this, your choice. I'm going to turn off MSI Afterburner's overlay by pressing Control \. You can see the Ubisoft overlay is always there. Now this is going to stay on for all Ubisoft games. The Steam overlay is going to stay on for all Steam games, but the Windows G game bar one will stay on until you turn it off for all games, and the MSI Afterburner will also stay on until you toggle it with the Control \. Option. That's how you get your FPS counter going. You can see our GPU is at 100%. This is what we want. CPU 80%. FPS is also nice and crispy at 120. And there you have it, folks. That's how you check your FPS while in game. Some apps are better than the others when it comes to details, whether you want those details or not. Maybe you just care about the FPS, you don't care about the temperature or power or VRAM or RAM usage. But that's the freedom of choice when it comes to PC gaming. You can choose whichever option you want, depending on your situation. Anyway guys, smash that like button, consider subscribing and dinging that notification bell just down there. You can check out my other videos right up here. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers!